I told you to go with this man last week, and he delivered, didn't he? 28 points. So I'm not going to go away from him again.
Derek Carr could be a nice cheap price. Mac Jones, I've got a little stat for you if you want to go Mac Jones.
And as the sleeper, how about Darrell Henderson Jr. for the LA Rams against Green Bay?
This could potentially be the biggest daylight robbery for anyone who's playing on the app this week. And I mean anyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Seahawks and football fans everywhere, a very warm welcome back to the We Talk Seahawks podcast. A very warm welcome back to the We Talk Fantasy segment of our podcast, our new segment that we're doing in partnership with Fantasy Gameday.app. We're getting to talk all things fantasy with a new little kind of avenue that we're going down on our pod. It's something we've wanted to do for a while, so we've now been offered this chance and this opportunity to do it. So we're really excited over our last 2 weeks. This is our third week doing it now. To you wise old people watching the YouTube, you'll be able to see that it is just me and Pez tonight. Gurmeet and Mitch can't be with us, but that doesn't mean there's no fantasy stuff for you. We've still got you covered, and anything could happen with just me and Pez in a room. You know that. So we'll get cracking. Pez, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Looking forward to talking some fantasy. So
yeah, confident with some of your picks.
Yeah, I feel like I've got a good range, top end to low end. I feel like I'm more confident on my low end with some of these matchups and the prices they're going at, that I feel like they'll be bigger hits than some of my top end guys. So you gotta be listening out. For them low end guys. Sleepers could win you this week.
There's value everywhere if you go looking for it in this kind of game. So yes, I'm interested to see who you've got, because I might have one or two little sleepers in here as well. But before we get cracking, if you head over, if you haven't already yet, by the way, if you have and you're enjoying the game, congratulations. It's very good, isn't it? It's very addictive. I hope you're having fun with it. If you haven't signed up yet, go to fantasygameday.app. Register an account, download it from your relevant app store, whether you're on iPhone or Android. Download the app, register an account, and use the referral code WTC WeTalkC. Once you've registered an account, once you play your first lineup for £7.50, you will get a free lineup on the house. So it's free fantasy football for you, and a great opportunity to win cash on the leaderboard. So it is UK only. We must stress that as well. And 18 plus obviously, and be gamble aware as always. So we're going to start where we start as always. Quarterback position, we work our way down. Quarterback and running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and your flex positions, and then the all-important captain at the end, which scores you double points in this game. If you're not familiar, the way the Fantasy Game Day works is you have £40,000 to build your weekly fantasy lineup, or if you want to do multiple fantasy lineups, you can enter a maximum of 5 a week. So you can enter 5 different lineups, 5 exactly the same lineups. It's completely up to you. But you have £40,000 to build that lineup. Each player has a unique price tag, so you have to spend your money wisely and spread it around wisely. So for the quarterback position this week, there are some interesting options. I told you to go with this man last week, and he delivered, didn't he? 28 points. So I'm not going to go away from him again. Dak Prescott, £5,900 against Philadelphia. And I know what you're thinking, oh, yeah, but it's Philadelphia. Yeah, it is Philadelphia. But Philadelphia aren't actually very great at defending against quarterbacks this season, fantasy-wise. Opposition ranking of 30. So that means they're the 30th worst team in fantasy formats anyway. And Dak Prescott coming off a 28-point game against the Rams, and then a 24-point game prior to that against the Chargers. He's in red-hot form at the minute. 5 touchdowns and 1 interception over his last 2 games. So he's very up and down, but at the minute Dak's quite on the up. So I'm as long as he keeps doing that, I'm going to keep backing him. And at that price tag, he's very backable to me. Pez, have you gone Dak, or have you got a different option at quarterback?
My top price guy, or my most expensive splash, was Dak. Just to add on what you said, because I agree with everything you said, is you compare him to Jalen Hurts, who is the most expensive quarterback this week. There's a 2.2k difference. And I trust Dak to get more production against the Eagles defense than Jalen Hurts to get it against this Cowboys defense, who's essentially like the number 1 or 2 defense overall in the league.
Yeah.
So no brainer for that. So I'm going to pivot. Because of the same price, I'm going to talk about 2 quarterbacks quickly. What I really like this week, and that's Derek Carr at 4.9, Matt Jones at 4.9. Now, the safe option is Derek Carr because it's the Bears and they have nothing to stop anything. And Alvin Kamara is just going to get all them passes, all them dump offs. Shaheed's probably going to get 2 big bombs, and he will just steadily through the game get you up to about 20 points. So if you want to go big in another position, like we'll cover coming up in the next positions, Derek Carr could be a nice cheap price. Mac Jones, I've got a little stack for you if you wanted to go Mac Jones. We're at the wide receiver position, so I can talk about that a bit later. But Mac Jones at 4.9, the Washington Commanders is D-line, unless they've got some sneaky little players in there, little gems they know about and we don't. Mac Jones has been playing a lot better his last 2 games, a lot more confident. His throws have been a bit more solid. His old line seems to be keeping him together a bit more. And the D-line of the Commanders have just lost their 2 biggest pieces, you'd say, on that D-line. Yep. So I think he's going to have a lot more time in the pocket, a lot more time to go for his reads. And one thing, if you watch college football about Mac Jones, is when he has the time and then progressively go for his reads, he can kill a team, destroy them to pieces. That's what he's good at, and I think he's going to get that. But if I had to choose one out of the 2, I'd go Derek Carr at 4.9.
Interesting.
Obviously, Dak is my number 1 dog.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've gone for him, so I will pivot and go on to Derek Carr.
Nice, a nice, interesting value play there. The quarterback position might save you a bit more cash to get a heavier hitter down the line. I like it. Running backs, then we'll say our 2 starters that we're going with. Obviously, you play 2 starting running backs, and then you can essentially add one in your flex if you want. But 2 minimum at this starting position. My 2, I've gone for 1 heavy hitter and 1 as a bit more of a sleeper guy. My heavy hitter is probably a pretty obvious one, and that's Alvin Kamara, 6,500 against the Chicago Bears, 24th at opposition ranking against the running back. And Alvin Kamara, I mean, since he's come back in week 4, has just not stopped producing. Not necessarily touchdowns in all those games, just 2 touchdowns in those 5 games, but ridiculous yardage totals and receiving totals. Also, I know he got 1 receiving touchdown as well, actually, so it's 3 touchdowns in those 5 games since he's been back. But 27 points last week against the Colts, 29 against the Jacksonville Jaguars before that, and then 17, 18, and 21 respectively. The guy's just producing like a monster at the minute, like he is when he's healthy. So I think 6,500. That's where I'm spending a lot of my money at the running back position. And as the sleeper, how about Darrell Henderson Jr. for the LA Rams against Green Bay? 25th against the run, Green Bay. Just £2,900 is Darrell Henderson Jr. And you know what? He's putting up respectable, modest numbers in the last 2 weeks, 13.6 and 11.5. So, okay, might not score you 18, 20 points, but for £2,900, if you can get a double-digit running back point scorer, I'll take that value there. And Darrell Henderson with a potential upside of maybe a little bit more as well. We know the Rams backfield isn't amazing, and he is the lead dog there at the minute, so always potential to break one off. You never know. I'll take a chance on him at 2,900. What are your thoughts on that, and who are you going for, Pez?
Sorry if everyone could hear my dog. All the fireworks are going off outside. She's losing her mind in the front room. Alvin Kamara, what obviously was mine. He's been great since he's come back. Great stack with Derek Carr. I know daily fantasy players love good stacks together because if they hit, they can win you. They can win you the whole week. So Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara stack. So I'll pivot, and I will go. My high end is I was going to be a homer and pick Ken because he's had 2 quieter games. A big game's coming, and people will least expect it in this game. But I'm not. I'm going to go my highest end player is going to be Saquon Barkley now Daniel Jones is back, because I don't think Daniel Jones is fully healthy. They don't have a choice. He has to come back. And one thing Daniel Jones is really good at is palming it off to Saquon and going, Saquon, go and do it. Saquon had how many touches and attempts last week? But the difference with Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor is Daniel Jones will turn them handoffs to passes.
Yeah.
So he's going to get all them PPR points on top. So what he got, I think off the top of my head, he got like 13 points in full PPR last week.
Yeah.
Change that to if he repeats last week, but then turns them into passing, it'll be over 20 points without a touchdown. Just solely because of that. So Saquon's probably my thing against the Raiders. They're shambolic at the moment. You do have to be careful with the burnt the house down. For the, sack the head coach, have a bounce back. Sleeper. I'm going to cheat it. I've got two. I'll be quick. Chuba Hubbard.
Nice.
Just today. So Friday, by the time it comes out, Saturday for everyone listening. Chuba Hubbard. And remember, you don't need to rush. These prices do not change. So you are getting steals at these two prices. Chuba Hubbard at 3.5 has been announced this evening as the starter for the Carolina Panthers. So no need to worry about him getting his work taken away from him. He's the lead guy. That's a steal. Another absolute steal with the announcement that Dameon Pierce isn't playing is Devin Singletary at 2.9. I think is a better value than Daryl Henderson. You said Daryl Henderson, didn't you?
Henderson, yeah.
Daryl Henderson, just because when you watch Daryl Henderson, he's disgusting. And
it's not great, yeah.
Royce Freeman actually produced better than him last game. So I'd be a bit scared about jumping into that. I do know why you've done it. I'd just be a bit wary about jumping at the same price and then 0.6 more. I think Chuba Hubbard and Singletary are really good steals at what they are, because they're essentially the lead backs this week.
I like that. I like the Hubbard shout. Singletary, bit more of a risky one, but I like Hubbard. I do like that shout. Receivers, I'll let you start on this one because I've started the last two, so I can't nick yours. Who are you going for at your two receiver spots this week?
According to the screenshots I got sent, CD Lamb, if you can just confirm the CD Lamb's the top guy.
Yep.
7.3. CD Lamb and AJ Brown are the top guys. Let's quickly speak about them too. I'd choose CD over AJ Brown. AJ Brown's been an unstoppable force, but if he's going to be stopped, it's going to be against this defense. If this defense doesn't slow him down, then God pray everyone who has to play him. Really, in a way. But just out of them two, I'd choose CD over them. But my main guy is down at 5.3, and that's Adam Thielen.
So I've got as well.
Yep. I do like Adam Thielen against the Colts. They just always end up into absolute PPR, just PPR machine games with the Colts and whoever they play. I think Adam Thielen's going to have a really, really nice game.
Yep.
I'm going to just band together as well. Be careful, because the Tampa Bay defense is good, but there's no Robert Woods. So there's some steals for a flex opportunity with Tank Dell if you just try and buy into him. And Noah Brown got a lot of targets last week. If that's a thing, that could pay off really well, because he's 2.9 as well, and Tank Dell's 3.7. But like I mentioned in the quarterback, my actual sleeper, who I think this could potentially be the biggest daylight robbery for anyone who's playing on that app this week. And I mean anyone, because this price isn't going to change. And that is, they call him Pot Douglas in New England. His actual name, what I should have written down because I've just put Douglas,
Demario.
is Demario Douglas. Yeah, I didn't want to look like a clown. Do you know what? I wish you went first, because if you were going to go feeling, there's a better steal here, and you've got him. You've got him on his thing. There's a steal here.
I probably don't.
So Demario Douglas, anyway, 2.9, literally should be the wide receiver one for the Patriots now. Juju Smith is rubbish. Kendrick Bourne, the only person in his way, is now done for the season. Tyquan Thornton, speedster, shown he could do bits. Doesn't look like he's playing either. So if you wanted to go the Matt Jones route, I would 100%, as a total together, would be 7.8. 7.8 for your quarterback and a flex option wide receiver. Think of what you then could do with your running back position, because I think there's some really, really juicy matchups with like your Barkley. You could play Barkley and Jacobs together in the same game and they could both go off. Like, I really like Douglas at that price. I think it's daylight robbery and he could win you the week at that price. He's another one who could win you the week.
Yeah, I'm not playing him in my fantasy game day week, but I definitely have picked him up in a few of my fantasy leagues that we're in. Yes, I do have Adam Thielen. I think he is Bryce Young's Tyler Lockett so far this season. He's just such a safety valve, and for that reason, in PPR leagues, he's scoring ridiculous points, and a really good football player as well. For my other wide receiver, I've gone for scary Terry McLaurin, £4,100 against the New England Patriots, 22nd against the wide receiver are the Patriots, and McLaurin just consistently scores you good points. 17 against the Eagles last week, 15, 14, then a down week of 8, but then a 22-point score against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a good value to get you anywhere between 14 to kind of 18 points on a fairly weekly basis, and for just £4,100, it allows you to potentially free up some extra big cash to splash on other positions. So that's my two receivers. Flex wise,
sorry, whilst we're on the receivers, just because I feel like there's a few other names we could just quickly expand on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just double check my thing. When did he play week 4? So the guy I thought you would have said, what if I knew you were going to go Adam Thielen, I would have left him for you to speak to, is, Devontae Adams at 4.5 is disgusting, in my opinion. I think this week you're going to get a reminder to why Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers in the league. And this is why. Aiden O'Connell played week 4. Devontae Adams got 15.5 fantasy points in, is he a rookie? Second year rookie, is he?
O'Connell's a rookie, yeah.
Yeah, so rookie in his very first start of his game, 13 targets, 8 receptions, 75 yards. That's what Devontae Adams got. He literally did. It was the DeAndre Hopkins to Will Levis, pass me the fucking ball. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Hopkins this week is literally going to go, Aiden, come here, pal. Yeah, I like what you do. Just pass me the fucking ball. And that's what's going to happen in this game. You're just going to see Aiden O'Connell go. If he's a smart guy, he would have watched Will Levis and gone, do you know what? Let's not overthink this. Let's just pass to the best guy on my team and go, I've got you. I'm giving you a 50-50 chance. Just go and get it. You're better than him. Go and win. You're better. So for 4.5, when you compare it to some of the guys above him, in his situation, that's a steal. I just wanted to give him a mention, a bit more of a mention than just like an honourable mention at the end. He's definitely worth looking at. Do a little bit of research.
I'll give you that. There's not many times you'll get Devontae Adams cheaper than 4,500, so I will give you that in the fact that it is a steal at that price. Flex wise, I do have
Are you
another
doing tight end
receiver.
or flex first?
I'll go flex because it's in the list.
Okay.
It goes flex then tight end. So I'll follow the order on the app. I'll go for my flex. I've got Rashid Shaheed coming off a monster week last week against the Colts, 24 points, then a 7 and then an 18-point week against Houston. He just has the potential, like you say, Pez, to just crack a few runs off, crack a few catches off. 153 yards receiving last week and a touchdown, just ridiculous. £3,500 against a Chicago team that, you know, the Saints should have plenty of opportunities on offense this weekend to move the ball on Chicago. Plenty of opportunities for Shaheed to get the ball in his hands. So I am going to back him to break off another couple of big plays this weekend. So that's my flex spot sorted. Who have you gone for?
I see a lot of my sleeper guys you could probably put in flex at their prices.
Yeah.
So I'll try and pivot to someone I've not spoke about. And I will say, I think with Jerome Ford still nursing an injury, I think Kareem Hunt could have a really good game against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Because last week, Gus Edwards destroyed them. 19 attempts, 80 yards, 4.21 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns, all on the ground. His passing work, 2 for 2 for 14. So he literally mauled them. Kareem Hunt is probably better in the pass game. So give him a load more space to get up and running. I think he could have an absolute monster game. And he's 4.5. So like I said, I've kind of done it a little bit all over the place. I will get better at refining my prices and all that. But just to talk about a guy I've not spoke about from my flex, yeah, I'd say Kareem Hunt's one to look out for.
Nice. Jerome Ford potentially questionable heading into that game as well, so he might be on a pitch count even if he's healthy. So that's an interesting call that you're making there. Tight end, I think we've both gone with the same guy because it looks a fairly no-brainer. TJ Hawkinson, I'm assuming that's who you've gone with as well.
But I'll pivot. You can talk about hockey.
Oh, hockey. Yeah, 4,300. One of the better producing tight ends so far this season. The team that they're going up against this week in the Atlanta Falcons, a little bit banged up in certain positions. Obviously, they're benching Desmond Ridder this week as well, so they're doing a quarterback change. That might work, might not work. Drake London out as well, so their offense potentially might stall a little bit more as well. And TJ Hawkinson is just and then I say that, but to be fair, Minnesota are potentially going to be running Josh Dobbs, new tight end, new quarterback themselves. But 20 points, 19 points the week before. We're talking about safety valves. If it is Josh Dobbs, if he comes in and starts straight away, you'd have to think TJ Hawkinson would be an excellent safety valve for him. Might harm his production a little bit with Josh Dobbs being a bit more of a mobile running quarterback than a Kirk Cousins was. So maybe you take away a few targets because of the way Dobbs, tucks and runs the football at times. But I still think Hawkinson is a really nice safety valve for Dobbs, and I think he'll still continue to produce double-digit scores.
Don't forget, it's not Dobbs this weekend.
Is it not Dobbs?
So far, no. He's already come out. He came out at the start of the week and said Hall will be starting.
All right, is it? Okay.
He said he doesn't want to put Dobbs in a situation like he's been already this season where he's coming in and he's bouncing straight into a game. He wants to try and give him a bit of time where he's got Hall. So at this moment in time, Jaron Hall is the starter. So I think that's why I went Hawkinson, because he will probably just use him as a total safety valve.
Yeah.
And then if Jaron Hall is shit and he gets benched halfway through a game, Dobbs will come in and then use Hawkinson as a safety valve.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will pivot to give someone else. And like I said before about the Texans wide receivers, Dalton Schultz would be my second option at 3.7. Let me just get his thing up because I think it's since Yeah, well, just before the bye week, he started off really slow, 271 fantasy points, then 13, 19, 16 had a down week last week, but I'm not buying into that down week, especially with like Robert Woods, who's classed as the second, third wide receiver. I think Schultz is going to take up that workload clearly before the bye. Stroud was showing the trust. 10 targets, 7 receptions, 7 targets, 4 receptions. He had 5 targets in this last game, only caught 2 of them. So I feel like that will then go back up and it could be a sneaky play.
Yeah.
And to chuck another one in there whilst we're on it, I talked about the Patriots before with the wide receiver issue. Hunter Henry's been quiet. Remember how he started the year? It could be a game where you could see Hunter Henry get a lot more involvement with that weakened defensive line of the Commanders. It's going to give him a lot of opportunity to do what he does best and middle around between the line and the linebackers and then get yards after the catch.
Yeah. And like we said, a lot of their pass catchers out as well this week, so even more options for Hunter Henry as well as Demario Douglas. So yeah, I like that call as well. Captains then, the guy who scores you double points, it is the most important pick of the week in most weeks. For me, again, I'm going to go with a bit of a no-brainer here. It's a bit of a boring pick, but my captain is CD Lamb. 7,300 against the Philadelphia Eagles, the worst team in fantasy against defending against wide receivers. And you are the worst team defending against wide receivers, going up against a receiver who scored 41 fantasy points last week against the LA Rams, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, and even one rushing attempt for 12 yards, if all that wasn't enough. I mean, the guy is just ridiculous. He is a monster. So I like him as my captain to maybe not have a 41-point day, but I definitely could see him having a 20 to 24-point day against the Eagles minimum. And then that would obviously turn into a high 40-point score day as your captain. So that's who I'm going for. Pez, are you going CD Lamb or are you going elsewhere?
Well, I agree with everything you said, but for the gives a different name out for the podcast and for the listeners. Oh, I'm weighing up between Saquon or Adam Thielen. Just with who I've picked out. Let's not be silly. It's Alvin Kamara.
Fair enough.
That's who it is. It's Alvin Kamara against the Bears because he's going to run all over him and he's just going to catch passes all over him. And you could see another 29, 30-point game as long as Taysom Hill pisses off on the fucking goal line. What is that about?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned him, telling me off for potentially bringing him up last week and he scores ridiculous points. Yeah, Taysom Hill. Change your tune on old Taysom, haven't you, dearie me? Anyway, that just about wraps us up for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've picked out some players there. I hope we've helped you pick your team for this week. But whatever you do, please do, if you can, if you're 18 plus and you are a UK resident, please do head to fantasygameday.app, register an account, download the app, enter your first lineup and use the referral code WTC WeTalkC for a free lineup after you have deposited your first lineup. And until then, head to all of our socials. Head to Fantasy Game Day. Our socials as well. We Talk Seahawks. Just search either of the two on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're all there for you. As always, you can find our Discord link in our pinned tweet as well. But go and show the guys at Fantasy Game Day some love on socials as well. Send us your lineups if you're playing, and we'll be sure to get back to you and give you our thoughts on that as well, whether you're in the Discord or on social media. We love talking about fantasy to anyone, so please do get in touch with us. But for now, and until next week, we'll be back to review our players again from last week, and look forward to week 10. My God, week 10 already. By the time we get around to next week, it's going too quick as it always does. But until then, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.